So I'm down at the convention center today, the open text event here. And I was just talking with a sales rep for open text, and I think I got his attention on our project. His name was Ted Hagen, and open text is up in Waterloo. And he suggested I should talk with the president of his company, and he's going to direct the information to it. The thing that struck me about our conversation was that he understood conceptually exactly what I'm doing, and he sees it instantly that the open text program will work really well with the UN Office of the Future. How we develop that would be very simple, and I think, and the question is, how much do I, how do we end up charging people to work with us? 1%? 1% is what we don't have to ask, we just get 1%. So I wanted to talk about tomorrow's interview on UNDRIP, recognizing that UNDRIP is not going to be Canadian law for probably a great number of years. It just was defeated under the false argument that it was advise and consent. They were concerned about the terminology and the meaning of advise and consent on or by the indigenous cultures across the country. What they really don't want to do is to have to change all their laws to treat the indigenous culture as human beings, because the new UNDRIP replaces the Declaration of Human Rights of '48 that excluded the indigenous communities around the world from being human beings. This is the thing they don't want to talk about, and they don't want it to be in the act. So what we need to do, and this is what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, I believe, I'm hoping, is that we don't need Canadian law. It's not about law. It's about morality. It's about, we used to argue, do you need to legislate morality? I don't think we need to legislate morality. What we legally things ought to be, for sure, but if the legal documents cannot be agreed to because of vested interest in the status quo, as opposed to true healing of the indigenous cultures around the world, which is what is necessary. That's what the Truth and Reconciliation was supposed to be about. All that money from the Truth and Reconciliation should have gone towards the implementation of UNDRIP, United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, rather than the way they have chosen to spend the money. UNDRIP needs to be in law, if only because we are a country of laws. If we were a moral country, we wouldn't. The Declaration of '48 would be sufficient. It would have been sufficient, but we are not. We are not a moral country. We are a country of laws. We are run by people that have vested interests in the status quo, and it's why the UN resident coordinator in Canada has to point this out to the people of the country. We are not bound by the restrictions put on the minds of the mental midgets that run our countries. Let them learn from us, and then let the chips fall where they may. Metakwa Oyas. Shalom. You yay!